Hi, brothers and sisters. I really loved getting to know you a little bit better when we had our conferences, and I hope you know from that I will help you in any way that you can. If there's any kind of problems and concerns that you have, some of you have used the email and talked to me. Some of it was about first fruits. I know that first fruits is a little bit harder to do. It's very structured. And the people who finished and did well and have had no problems, they followed the guidelines. You have to turn things in on time. If you don't turn things in on time and then do the first peer review in a timely manner, then you end up with the problems that a few of you had. So hopefully with this one, if you had any problems and lost any points, you will be able to gain those points back throughout the semester. It won't make that much of a difference if you didn't get everything done the way it needed to be done. But hopefully I gave you a little bit more leeway. You have until I'm recording this on Friday, and so you have a few more hours, but you maybe can get them all done, but hopefully you can at least one peer review get done. But just make sure in the future that you turn them in on time. And if you turn them in on time and do your first peer review in a timely manner, then you should have no problem whatsoever. A lot of you have already finished it. In fact, 7 of you have already turned in your essays. And I will have those graded by midweek and back to you. I'll grade them in the order that you turned them in. So you 7 that have already turned them in, I will be grading those first and then going from there. I really thank you for sharing part of your life. Many of you spoke of your changes that affected you quite a bit, spiritual changes and changes in your outlook, and I appreciate those. And I appreciate getting to know you guys better. And now, how are you going to? A lot of times, people will say, "What good is an English class once I get it finished?" Oh, well, I hope you realize that telling a story learning how to tell a story correctly and well can help you throughout your life with all of the details and slowing down time and everything. If you have to give a talk in sacrament meeting, tell a story. Teaching a lesson, tell a story. Being in your workplace and trying to make people understand you better, tell a story about your weekend. Being in a leadership position in work or church, tell a story to make people feel your presence there. So I hope you learned how to do that a little bit and also had a basic idea of how to write an essay, which is also important. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things. First off, revisions. Most of you won't need to revise the change essay. In fact, I won't accept if you have an A or a B, I will say no, emphasize the rhetorical analysis. But if you just really blew it and did not pass or did not get the grade that you thought that you should, then you can revise. If you do that, what you do is let me open a new window here and show you. You go to the student resources. And in the student resources, there will be a guide that is the final essay revision policy. And it will give you the guidelines that are outlined by the college that you can revise the change, the rhetorical analysis, or the annotated bibliography, not the exploratory synthesis at the end, because explanatory synthesis, because you wouldn't have time. There's no time for it to do it. But if you choose to revise it, first off, you can only do it once, and you have to have this cover letter. And the cover letter is going to tell you all the changes you made, why you made them, what you learned. Make sure it's in detail, and then make sure that you look at all of the things that I show you that I talk to you about in SpeedGrader. And if any of you have questions about SpeedGrader, um, I did show you I give you a link and the announcements of how to do it. So, yeah, of how to do that. And I really, 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 really think that if you do a revision, you need to have, here's how to do it. If you do a revision, you need to have a, a talk with me on Zoom to make sure that you understand it. So this is exactly how you can find all of the different ways. You just go to this. So that's a good link if you have any problems. Many of you have used Canvas for quite a while, and so if you have, then you understand how to do those. But if not, I've got that there for you. What else do we want to talk about? Your rhetorical analysis. You're going to learn basic rhetoric. I mean, you can take classes on rhetoric, and there's all kinds of really cool things about rhetoric, but you're just going to learn logos, pathos, ethos, and a few things like allusions and repetition and things like that. You're going to be talking about not what something is about, but how the writer writes it. So that's what you're going to be talking about this time. So let's talk about that. Okay, you're going to be talking about, I'll give you the overview first. Make sure you go back to this overview many times, because it gives you so many different things, and you'll say, where do I find that? Where do I find that? You always can go back to the overview. It'll tell you that. Okay, you've got the blank template. If you don't have it in the right format, it's sure not the college's fault, because they give you the blank template, and you are able to say, oh, okay, a title in bold case. Don't call it the rhetorical analysis. Gives you the numbers, and then go from there. You are also going to be watching a really cool video of Mr. Rogers. Remember Mr. Rogers? I bet a lot of you grew up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and it talks about the power of persuasion, and it is so awesome. And then you're going to learn a little bit about how to introduce things in APA. And it's the sandwich thing. And we'll call it the sandwich thing, the sandwich method of introducing all the way through. So it's going to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to introduce it, then integrate it. That's the actual quotation. And then interpret it. How does that fit into your essay? So you're going to introduce your sources, and this is telling you how to do that. Make sure you introduce the creator of the source. It gives you an example here. If it's a person, include their full name, first and last names. Also the date right after. If any of you have used MLA, that is different. It's different from MLA. So make sure that you do the APA things. Okay, so you're going to have the full name and the year. Okay. And you can either do it this way, where you put the date after there, or you can do it this way, where you talk about it like this and then put it like that. Okay. And if you have no date, you put no date in there. If the source has a page number, you put it at the end. Yours won't. In the speeches, you won't have page numbers, so you don't need to put that in. But there's a lot that look at this and keep going back to this if you ever have questions on how to integrate your sources. And use strong and specific verbs. You can use states. It's a general verb, so reminds is better, or challenges, or invites, rather than just says. And here's effective verbs for introducing quotations. Gives you all kinds of different ones. Acknowledges, addresses, adds, insights, refutes, summarizes. You have everything that you need to do that correctly. Okay. Then the eyes, and then you're also going to be doing this annotated reading, backpacks versus briefcases. That is a really cool one, and you're going to be annotating it like you did the last time, where you need to make sure that you have 2 comments per page, 2 highlightings and comments, and also questions. Don't forget your questions. I've had a couple of you had to redo it because you forgot your questions. So make sure that you do have this. Now, when you do this and when you download this annotated thing, you can do it either in Word or you can do it in PDF. Let me tell you that the Word one is kind of mixed up as far as like words are in different places and stuff. So you might want to do PDF rather than that, and then use the document viewer to make the notes to use you to do Canvas, do it in Canvas. So you can do that. You can do that different ones like that. Okay. All right. But I would suggest you using the PDF one just so because the other one is a bit annoying. And then the rubrics, make sure you see, you gotta have highlights and other markers. And it shows engagement by asking thoughtful questions. Remember that. And then comments and connections, at least 2 insightful comments or connections on each page. Text to self, text to text, text to word, whatever you want to do. And then you're going to do this speech in context. And it's an excellent work sheet that you're going to be doing. Okay, you're going to be talking about your initial impressions. Make sure you use this. Okay, and the quality of the argument, any really good points, what are they? And so when you're doing this, I try to be a little bit more, in order to get full credit on this, you're going to have to do a little bit better than, how did you feel after reading the speech? Good. What do you think you felt that way? It was a good speech. No. Be a little bit more specific with that. And then the same kind of thing. Any good points? Yes. What are they? Make sure that you be specific with this. And then make sure you do this. If there were some terms or descriptions or something that you should research or study, make a note of that because you'll be able to use that in your essay. You're going to be using this form and the other next form that you're going to be getting next week. You're going to be using those to write your essay. So this is gathering the information. This is important. The author and speaker, when and where do they live, and the significant events from their life. Google them. See if you can figure it out. Find them on Wikipedia. See if you can find out where they live, what were significant events. And then with this speech, who is the speech for? More than one audience? Since these are commencement speeches, they're always going to be about the commencement thing. But were there other people he was maybe talking to besides those? Maybe the parents, yes. But did he maybe think, well, maybe somebody else will be reading this later on, so I need to give something to other people. And then what are the characteristics of this group? Do they all have a similar nationality, a similar job? Are they diverse? It depends on which college it is that he's talking to them. And then why did they give the speech? And what do they want to accomplish? What do they want the audience to think, feel, or do? This is extremely, extremely important because that is going to inform the rest of your essay, is the purpose of it. And then the tone. Are they argumentative, passionate, relevant, funny? When and where was the speech given? This is important. What was going on in the world or near this place that might have influenced it? I mean, you aren't going to see any kind of speeches given in 2020, 2021 that aren't going to mention COVID. If not, what's going on? And then stance, how does the author feel about the issue they're discussing? How do they frame the opposing side? Is there an opposing side? Do they mention it? Are they fair or balanced, or are they just one-sided? You're definitely going to be using all of those. Then you're going to be talking about the ethos, their own credibility. Okay, that's what ethos is their own credibility. Well, it's not letting me highlight it. There you go. Well, whatever. Okay. What are their credentials? What are their personal experiences? What other sources does the author use? And then the emotion, pathos. How does it appeal to the emotions? Do they do fear, or compassion? Identify. This is what they usually do for ethos. How do they try to identify with the audience. I'm just like you because of this. And then, of course, there has to be logic. Does it use a set of guiding questions? Repetition. Does they use that to emphasize things? Evidence to support their points. So you see what you're going to be doing this time is analyzing how the speech was done, not what the speech said, but how the speech was done. And it's kind of fun. Some of you are going to love it. Some of you are going to hate it. So if you have any questions, though, all you have to do is text me and or email me. Sorry, email. I'm not giving out my text number. Sorry, but you're going to email me and I will check those every couple of times a day, except on Sundays. And I will be sure to get back with you. Okay. You've got a long list of speeches that you're going to be doing that you can choose from. And make sure that you choose from those. There's some that it's going to make a difference when they were done. It goes all the way from 1969, and I think I saw one to 2020, 2021. So it's going to make a difference. Make sure that you analyze that. What difference does it make when it was given? Who's the audience? So those worksheets will help you a lot. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, email me. All right. Have a good day, brothers and sisters. Stay warm.